Dead. A series starting all the way back in 1996, the first time a cabinet appeared, surviving through parents and politicians alike to become a classic staple of the arcades even to this day. It's no surprise these games have been brought over to the consoles, but through the passage of time, the original source code for the first games were lost, meaning that any remakes would have to be painstakingly rebuilt from the ground up. Now jump forward to April of 2022. Thanks to the work of Megapixel Studio, The House of the Dead comes back onto modern consoles and PC with a completely rebuilt game. Every enemy, every piece of music, every animation, all recreated to match the original. And with the updated consoles means the option for achievements. And we wanted to see just how quickly you can get every single one of them. This will require planning, patience, and perseverance. These are qualities we have absolutely none of. So let's just jump right in, shall we? So fresh into the game, there are 3 very quick and simple achievements to knock out, starting with murder. Yep, just shoot one of the scientists and boom, murderer. Oh, don't worry, we'll save another scientist and get a hero, so that balances everything out, right? Well, stricken with grief at trying to justify our actions, Thomas Rogan stands frozen, unable to stop the mutant zombie fanged toads? Frogs? Either way, whatever these things are, finally chomped down for the final time, and with no more credits available, we'd finally game over and get, really, to end off our first run. So an actual run this time, we choose easy mode just to make our lives, well, easy, and make our way through the rest of the first chapter to find... Alright, time out, real talk for a moment here. The toothed frog, toads, and monkeys were one thing, but what is this? Like, what the actual f*** is this thing? Is it wearing a gimp suit? Is it looking like this a sexual thing? Why does someone make this? And why does it look like that underneath? You know what? We shouldn't ask questions we don't want the answers to. Let's just finish chapter 1 up, grab the chariot achievement for beating this boss, and move on to watching Sophie definitely die, because there is no way someone survives this with any internal organs left. Or bones. Chapter 2 goes by fairly easily until we get to this room here. Now see that set of RGB glass in the back there? Well, if we make it through this chapter without breaking this glass, then that's good for us. We managed to clear through without breaking a single pane, earning us the Glass Cleaner achievement, and find another monstrosity of a creation, Hanged Man. But before we worry about that, there is a missable achievement to be had. In phase 1, these little bat things will be...
Actually, those are called Devilion. They're a bat-like creature.
Bat things will be swimming around in the first phase. Now, knocking out all of these earns us the Unwinged achievement. And then once we finish up the kinda cool and cinematic boss fight, we get the achievement Hanged Man for clearing the chapter. Now, despite how well the last 2 chapters have gone, it's time to get the bloodlust going again. Since chapter 3 only has 3 scientists that are very easy to find, it's time to get our Psychopath on and earn the Psychopath achievement for killing every scientist in a single chapter. Now, unfortunately, having every scientist die in a chapter is not the same as us killing every scientist. So when the last scientist gets themselves punted down this vent, well, we have to reload the chapter and do everything all over again. And while going on a trigger happy havoc causing spree, we also end up getting the Sadist achievement for blowing off every body part of a zombie, which is something we thought we'd have to get later on, so that's pretty neat. Second time's the charm though, and we blast through scientist, cyborg, and giant mutant zombie spider alike, picking up both Psychopath and Hermit at the end of the chapter. Chapter 4 is very much a homestretch kind of chapter, giving us reruns of both the Chariot and Hangman boss fights before we confront Dr. Curian. Sadly, before we can stop him, the final boss shows up, shuts up Curian, and goes out for a gander at the sunset. Many bullets from our infinite supply later, and the Magician is defeated. We earn ourselves 3 more achievements: the Magician for beating the Magician, Agent for finishing a run on any difficulty, and the normal ending for finishing a run with a score less than 62,000 and having the final digit not be 0. One run down and 13 achievements is pretty good going. However, rather than go for another full run, we took a small break to go ahead and get set up some of the in-game cheats that are available. Now, unlike other games where you can just punch in the code and the cheat is yours, this game will lock certain cheats until you have collected a set amount of achievements. Since we have more than 8 unlocked, by typing in QEQEMM on the main menu, we unlock the infinite ammo cheat that will be invaluable in everything we do next. First, we fumbled about trying to go for the reinforcements achievement, which is to have a player 2 join you once a chapter has started, and this not only took us a little bit more time to get working properly than we'd like to admit, but it also broke the game, changing its audio output source. Yeah, this game is a broken mess at the best of times. So, while working on a solution to that, we took a gander at Horde mode, which throws a ton more zombies at you as to get a bunch more kills for some of the other achievements, and while doing so, we hit our 50th projectile, unlocking Swifty, and then, thanks to infinite ammo, we also got no ammo wasted, which is for not reloading whilst having bullets remaining in the chamber. Since we literally never need to reload, this was fairly easy to get. Eventually though, we do manage to get a player to join after starting a chapter to get reinforcements, and then by starting up a game in modern mode, we can also grab the triple and pentakill achievements on the 5 maggots just past the bridge, followed up by finishing the chapter again, this time with a player 2. The rest of the run is fairly straightforward, picking up Butcher for our 666th kill in the process of saving every scientist, which earns us the secret room by entering the secret room in the 4th chapter by saving every scientist, which also unlocks the armory for us, and Savior for saving every scientist. Yeah, anyway, for beating the game, we get the Agent G achievement for finishing the game with a second player, and find out that Sophie didn't die from this, and is actually doing pretty well in the true ending. This brings our total up perfectly to 24 out of 41, the exact amount we need for the next 2 cheats. AWDSMM gives us 1 shot at 16 achievements, and MMKKQE not only gets us all weapon unlocks, but also the 2 easiest achievements so far on the list, with Try This for unlocking 1 additional weapon, and Full Armory for unlocking all of the extra weapons. Now with every weapon available and the ability to one-shot any enemy, this now opens up 4 available achievements to grind out. First up is Dance Macabre for getting a headshot with the very fun Pitter. Second up is only a short moment later with Grenadier for getting 5 kills in a single grenade shot. Now the next 2 ahead were ones that require quite a bit of luck and patience rather than any skill, with Ringo and Who Let the Dogs Out. Ringo involves using the assault rifle to shoot a body up as high as possible, and sending these 2 dogs back over the wall will get you Who Let the Dogs Out, and both of these involve the game's ragdoll physics playing nicely with you. Eventually we gave up on the suggested spot for Ringo and found that shooting these 2 enemies from a low angle makes the task so much easier as we get this on our first attempt. We scoop up Not This Time for a damageless chapter while we're at it and try again and again and again for Who Let the Dogs Out, eventually getting it by blindly and wildly firing the grenade launcher the second we turned to face the wall. All of these attempts were being done on the arcade difficulty, as once we'd got the last of them cleaned up, we could then go for the next 3 achievements we'd set our sights on. Bloodbath for finishing arcade difficulty, which would be a hell of a lot easier thanks to the activated cheats, Untouchable since we knew it would always be worth trying for, and getting that 3rd ending, which on classic score mode made the last digit either a 5 or 0, so we had a 50-50 shot at getting it right. We finish the arcade difficulty run and find that only one of these achievements pops, as we learn that the life lost from a scientist's death counts against Untouchable, but also that every enemy in the last chapter before the boss comes in pairs, so once we got a final digit of 5 in our score, we couldn't change that, meaning that this run nets us a single measly achievement in Bloodbath. Next up came a little bit more grinding and checking for some missable achievements again. Now Headhunter involves blowing off 666 zombie heads, which is normally done with headshots. However, even the corpses can still count if you didn't get a headshot to kill them, and the grenade just takes every limb off, so that also happens to count. Couple in Horde mode and Headhunter comes in no time. But we weren't just grinding for these, oh no. In the first 2 chapters of the game, if you choose the right routes through the levels, you can find several rats located in the background. Now, originally we thought that you needed to get them all in a single run, but so long as you shoot each and every one of the rats at some points, the achievement will pop up, so with the last rat found, the achievement deratization is ours. And with the last main missable achievement collected, we come back to an achievement that took the most planning and preparation yet: Traveler. See these lines here and how Rogan starts running along them? Well, each branching path is caused by a choice that you make in the game. Saved a scientist? Great, go that way. Watch them die? Well, you'll go a different way then. Now there are a bunch of these throughout each level, and we have to unlock all of them. Thankfully, some chapters like chapter 3 and 4 are very simple, with all the routes being attainable in just 2 runs. But then there's chapters 1 and 2, which need 5 and 4 runs respectively. Now you might be thinking, oh well, you've replayed these levels so many times, Ultrasonic Blur. Surely you must have gotten them all by now. no. Now, looking closer at these images, there's a clear and simple pattern that you can follow. Every color represents a route, so red is one way, blue is another, and so on and so forth, meaning that you can very easily follow each path and get all of the possible routes easily. But we are, well, we're an idiot. So, over the many different times that we've gone through not only the game, but each individual chapter, not once did we think to maybe mark off the routes we'd done so that we could easily follow these flowcharts, or even just think about going for a different route when we were playing the game. So now comes the somewhat tedious task of going through each chapter one at a time, restarting each time we complete a route, and doing it over and over again. So once we made it through the last unfinished route on chapter 3, we'd never shot this door before, go figure, that's every possible route traveled through, and the Traveler achievement is ours. Since we were this far through a run, we figured we'd take a shot at an idea for a way we could guarantee getting that last ending we were missing too. And as it turns out, that theory was right. In the fights with the Hanged Man, the bats don't give you any points when you shoot them, unless they are flying towards you. So with our final digit now manipulated to be 0, and knowing that every wave of enemies comes in pairs, we then finish up the game, getting us both the third ending and ender achievements for getting the last and all ending scene. At this point in time, we were a little concerned that we hadn't had Catch-em-all pop up, so when we went to the gallery to check exactly what we were missing, the game realized, oh wait, all creatures have been seen and shot, and gave us the achievement for, well, getting them all. Now we've only got 2 more achievements we can go for, and these are easily the hardest of them all. Invincible for a damageless run, and Collector, which involves getting every item on a full run of the game. Now initially we thought that Collector meant that you had to go for every scientist, since that's the only way to get the collectibles from chapter 4. However, what Collector actually wants you to do is get all of the available items that you could get on any run. That means that if you don't get the secret room in chapter 4, then there are no collectibles that you need to get. So following the route laid out by Just One Gamer here, we were able to pinpoint the items that we had to find and then make sure we don't get hit. It takes a fair bit of double checking, but if we ever did run into any issues, thankfully we could just reload any chapter and try again. This is where the assault rifle came into its own. Infinite ammo and one shot meant so long as we never shot a scientist and let the zombies pick off the ones we needed to for routes, we could mow down everything, boss and zombie alike, with ease, as well as clearing up every item that we needed to grab. With that, both the Collector and Invincible achievements pop, and with all other 40 unlocked, the House of the Dead achievement is ours in a smidge under 4 hours and 13 minutes. It's such a shame, really. This game is a wonderful reconstruction from the ground up of what is a classic arcade game. This could have been the start of something great with these remakes, but sadly, the fact that this game is an absolute nightmare to even get running, let alone that it's been out with no signs of addressing these issues since April 2022, feels like this game has just been left out to die with its absurd price and these issues still plaguing it. Like, we got this game for £5 and it still felt like it was overpriced, since it took over an hour of troubleshooting, guesswork, a magic 8-ball, and mashing settings together to even get the game to work. And that's without even mentioning the time the game literally soft-locked itself. Do we want to see the other games in this series get remade? Absolutely! They seem like a really fun time, but not when it's packaged like this. Overall, we would love to give this game a 7 out of 10, but due to its inability to function, the best we could give it is a 4 out of 10 if you can get it to work. As for the achievement attaining, this was a really fun and enjoyable time, working out just what achievements could be gotten in a single run and how best to go about this. The overall difficulty is a 3 out of 10, it's not really difficult, and if you get into any trouble, you can just reload chapters, but the hardest achievement is most certainly Collector, as this does involve the most planning ahead. But with that, our time here is over. Thank you very much to everyone who has found, followed, and stuck around on this video. Do let us know if you'd like to see any more content like this, and on what games. Down below in the description below is where you can find and follow us for more content and entertainment, but until next time, we have been Ultrasonic Blur, you nerds have been a fantastic audience, and we shall see you all next time.